going to get started. Welcome everyone to Affiliate Improv number 4 at Affiliate Summit East 2012, and we're glad you made it. Thank you. This is us. We have like no slideshow for this. This is, well, it's improv, isn't it? And it's unscripted. So this is us. My name is Daniel M. Clark. QAQN.com is my website. I'm a podcaster. And with me, we have 3 panelists. And before we get into that, I want to tell you, this is very audience participation, okay? We're going to be teaching brainstorming. We're going to be taking an idea and blowing it up and giving you guys ideas, how you can blow up ideas, basically. And we have a mic in the middle, so shout out to these guys, or preferably go up to the mic. And I'm going to ask you for an idea, or a passion, or a niche, or a product. Preferably something abstract that you're not really working on yourself, because I don't want to be responsible for your success or not, you know?
I do.
But I know, right? Come on up to the mic at any time, and feel free to interrupt, because this is very audience participation. So, go on if you like, while I'm introducing these folks. To my left, Todd Farmer.
Hello, I'm Todd Farmer. With AffiliateMarketingPlan.com, where I teach affiliates how to build websites, become successful affiliate marketers, and understand general best practices, internet marketing, how strategies with affiliate marketing is all connected, content, and everything. So, hello, Todd Farmer.
Okay. To his left, Jen Goode.
I'm Jen Goode. My primary occupation is I'm an illustrator and graphic designer, but I work in the affiliate space to integrate affiliate links and offers in with the things that I'm promoting on my own as complementary monetization.
All right. And to her left, Trisha Lynn Favre.
I work with Snow Consulting, which is an outsourced program management company, and I manage several different affiliate programs in various verticals, everywhere from sports to perfume to more sports.
Okay. Now, what we're going to do to begin with, and I'm kind of hoping you guys take advantage of this whole audience participation thing, we're going to give a little information about what our strong points are, and then we're going to try to marry those strong points with the topic that you guys are going to suggest, right?
Right.
So, and if you don't, well, I've got one in the back of my head that they don't know about, and I'll toss them that. So, Todd?
All right, so what I thought I'd bring up while we have a couple of seconds here is throughout the course of my career, I've seen a lot of affiliates starting websites, and the key thing obviously is passion, right? But I do want to kind of boil this down to 3 different key elements that I'd like to try to use as a focus or a format for answering questions. And the things are your goals, your audience, and your unique value proposition. So when you're making a website, whether you're just starting it or you're blowing it up, always know what your goals are, right? So exactly what do you want out of this website? How does it connect with your business? And what do you want it to specifically do for you and your business? Second thing is to your audience, to truly know and completely know your audience and your niche. There's so many ways you can deconstruct and, cross-section, dissect your niche and your audience. Which exact element, which exact audience are you going for? Who within that audience is your target customer? Fully, completely understand that. And then the third thing is your unique value proposition. How do you stand out? What makes you different? What makes you better than your competitors? So when your target audience and your target customers are coming to the internet and they see you and your competitors, what makes you stand out? What is your unique value proposition? What do you deliver? What kind of value do you provide to your audience and your target customers? So those 3 things: goals, audience, and unique value proposition. There you go.
Okay.
What
Great.
do I bring to the table? Is that what
why
you're
are
asking?
you here? Besides that, I asked you to be here.
Because Daniel's a really good friend. What I like to bring to the table, aside from the graphics and aesthetics of what you're building, is trying to figure out unique ways to integrate affiliate offers. It's not just about adding a link to your site. It's not just about adding a banner to your site. So sometimes it's just coming up with creative ways to integrate the monetization that you are looking for into your site so that you can actually make money from your site.
And what I like to focus on is working smarter, not harder. So there's a lot of ways that you can not cut corners, but make your life easier with different tools. One of the tools I like a lot that I just learned about a few months ago is called If This Then That. It's ifttt.com, and it's you can create recipes for different automating. So you can automate whenever somebody posts a blog post from a certain feed, you tweet that out. Or you know, whenever you star something in Google Reader that maybe you want to read later, it gets saved to Evernote or saved to Dropbox, things like that. Evernote and Dropbox as well are great tools especially if you're on a laptop and an iPhone and an iPad, or you know, maybe you're using different computers, so you can coordinate all of your notes and your files within different ways. One of the bigger tools that I like as well to make life easier is a plugin called Post Template for WordPress. It's by Vincent Pratt. It's kind of a generic name, so look for the one by Vincent Pratt. And there's a free version and a paid version. The paid version is relatively cheap, but I found that going to the paid version was worth it to create a lot of different templates, especially if you're writing the same kind of post over and over again, or if you have you know, different categories of posts and they're formatted differently and you want to maintain that formatting. That plugin really works really great, and I like talking about that kind of stuff.
All right. And my strong suit is audio production, podcasting, and a bit of video production as well. So I'll be happy to bring up some things about that as we go along. Nobody's lining up the microphone, so I'm going to encourage people to just yell, all right? Audience participation. What we're looking for is an idea, a passion, a topic, a product, anything that you might say, I care about this thing, but I don't know how to go from point A to point Z. I want to learn how to brainstorm ideas for this thing to blow it up. So start yelling, and I'll just talk into the mic myself. Anybody? What? What? Food. Okay. What else? Anybody? Photography. Okay. Anybody?
Food.
Health supplements. Okay. Come on. Anybody? Music. Military. I like broad topics. That's very good. Anybody else? Start yelling. Anybody? No? We good? All right. Real estate? Real estate. Okay. These guys are going to talk amongst themselves for just a moment.
So I guess the first thing I would ask, again, those three things, right? Your goal, the audience, and your unique value proposition. So for instance, in the food niche or food category, which there's lots of different types. We're talking about, you know, just the ingredients. We're talking about cooking. Eating out, okay. So not dining in, eating out, all right. Okay. And like food blogging kind of thing, we're talking. Like, oh, thank you. Okay. No, be much more specific.
No, that's fine. The goal really
out.
isn't to help one person specifically, but to demonstrate that the kinds of things we talk about can be applied to everybody.
How about niching it down and do eating out with kids?
You want to do?
There you go.
Okay.
Well, I do like the idea of if there's anybody here who has specifically a website that we could help you actually get some benefit from, I think that also would be something
We
really.
can go through that a little bit as we go along as well, sure. Yeah.
You're suggesting we don't.
Maybe we can.
Improv.
I just improved.
That's fine.
So what are we going with? We're going with eating out with children.
You want to do that kind of family dining?
And when you say blow it up, in case there's anybody who isn't grasping exactly what that means, he's talking
'Cause I
about taking
suck.
it from what?
No, never mind. Go.
He means taking it from a concept such as eating out or whatever the topic might be, and turning it into something that is a business for you or a website that's profitable.
Right.
Right.
Right. Be it a blog or a video series or a podcast series or something that you can monetize, make some money on.
Turning
So,
your concept into a grocery
exactly.
budget.
That's right. That's right. So, you guys like that one? We go with family dining. All right. So I have a passion for going out to eat with my kids and spending some family time with my family, and I want to try to monetize that. So, Todd, what's the first thing that comes to mind for you?
Local.
Local. Okay. What about local? How would you? Let's say I want to start a blog, right? My first thought is supposed to be I want to start a blog, right?
So when I start thinking about making websites, I also obviously you have to focus, right? And so then I cannot possibly understand all the various different metropolitan areas and various different rural areas and be able to possibly accurately portray or review or provide any real genuine content. So I'd have to probably choose something specific to me, right? So either local to me, so I'm hyper-targeting a local audience, so I'd understand a bit more about them. Yes, they have kids, so what else do they need? And reviewing or rating restaurants and understanding local eating out opportunities, right? But then also I like to try to scale things as much as I possibly can. And so that's where, like when Tricia was talking about this post template WordPress plugin, I like that idea quite a bit. So how could I scale it out and blow it up, right? So, well, obviously I live in Northville, Michigan, but I've traveled quite a bit, so then I could do something like that. I'm a father, I have 2 kids, my son is 12, my daughter's 7. So I have some 12 years of experience of eating out with kids throughout their different life stages, right? So then there's various different hyper-targeting components, right? In terms of, again, knowing your goals, your audience, and your unique value proposition. If my goal is to make money, or maybe my goal is just to eat for free, that could be it, right?
That's a good one.
So then, if that's my goal, cool. That's easy enough, right? Maybe I get some sponsorships. Maybe I can actually have some national chains that can sponsor, or I do some national chain coverage in my local/travel content. But the audience, obviously, is about other people who are like me, either a single dad or a married dad and with kids in my general age range of my own personal experience and passion, right? And then in terms of my unique value proposition, maybe I have a video camera. And maybe I'm freaking hilarious, right? And that's what sets me apart, right? So, your voice and what you provide personally, what each of you have to say is a unique value proposition, right? So then in terms of the delivery, is it audio-based, video-based, or is it all your written content? Do I have a lot of photos of the different meals and the places and the kids are happy? Am I, grabbing copies of the menu and providing all that kind of stuff, right?
I like that. I like grabbing copies of the menu.
And so therefore people are searching for a chicken cacciatore in Northville, Michigan. Come to my house. I don't know.
Writing that down.
Do not. I cannot cook. I cannot cook.
Todd's address is 1245.
Yeah, right. So, anyway, so that's kind of where I'd go, right? So I start with the goal, like what do I want? I want to make money or eat out for free. Mm-hmm. And my audience, they're just like me and my unique value proposition. What makes me stand out? I'm not Yelp,
Right.
but I participate in Yelp. I participate in Google Pages and Plus, right, and local, and I've got a Facebook page and Twitter following, and I focus on my niche and my audience, and my unique value proposition would be probably more video-based and all-around content, because obviously content's huge, right? So
Now, what do you mean by unique value proposition?
the thing that makes you stand out, obviously, when you're making a website, you have to provide value to your audience and your target customers, right? If you don't give them help, Will Reynolds from Sear Interactive was just talking about this as well. It's something I've been doing for a very long time, focusing on helping other people. That's a value proposition. People come online for a couple of reasons, right? To solve a problem or be entertained, right? So the problem solution opportunity for you is to create a solution. So that's the value proposition, right?
So it's
What's
the
different?
unique thing that you're offering to
Right.
your audience.
Right, so you offer a value, Tricia offers a value, and I would offer a value in terms of to my audience if we all three are competing websites, right? My
Right.
unique value proposition would be potentially, hopefully, different than yours, and or if it's the same, hopefully mine is better because I want the same eyeballs as you want.
He didn't mention me. I don't offer anything.
You are a unique value proposition in and of yourself.
Oh, all right. Tricia, anything to add?
My first thought when you say, eating out with your kids and with family would be tips and suggestions for, maybe new parents trying to go out and have a dinner with their baby and not have everybody leer at them because their baby starts crying.
So rather than a specific venue, you're thinking more
That's where I would go with it.
information.
Yeah, more informational, more, tips on, where to get the best deal for your kids, where the best, most extensive kids menus are.
10 ways to survive a night out with your young
Something
children.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I go with that in my mind.
Right.
5 crafts to do with a salt shaker.
Sure. How to draw the right thing with the crayons on the
How to
tablecloth.
learn, you need to learn to write upside down.
Yeah.
Because when your kids are sitting across from you, you have to be able to write upside down when you're teaching them letters.
Be polite.
Yeah, exactly. So,
But yeah, that's where I would go with that.
Yeah.
Is straight to a content of if you're, that's your passion, you're writing about going out with your children, how can you share what you've learned? I mean, like Todd mentioned, 12 years experience
Yep.
of going out with his kids to eat.
right.
How can you help other people survive that experience themselves
Okay.
with a small, maybe with a smaller child, or, different tips and tricks, different things. Make sure you have the sippy cup with you, or, things like that, whether they're restaurant specific or more general for anybody they could use, things to keep, 10 essentials for your diaper bag to eat when you go out to eat or something like that.
Right.
One also kind of more of a universal tip that we can provide to you right now, whether it's your niche or topic is on eating out with kids, food topics or not. Think about a problem, a very specific question that your audience may have, a very specific issue that they would actually literally type in the search engines to ask a question, a very specific question, and you answer it, right? So when you answer a very specific question and title your article that question, the content within your question titled article would provide that answer, and thus you would potentially receive some pretty significant simple search rankings for answering a very specific question from your audience.
Okay. So we're talking about going from this idea of you have a passion for this kind of thing and you want to blow it up, you want to make some money. What's your first step once you decide what your end goal is? You want to, we want to start a blog, right? So WordPress, hosting, building a website. What kind of resources do you guys like for learning how to do that?
Everything I do is on WordPress.
Yeah.
I used to hand code everything. I used to do all my own custom websites from the ground up. And anymore, WordPress is just as fantastic. So I start with WordPress.
Yep. I
Yeah.
agree.
If you guys aren't familiar with WordPress or don't use it, how many of you use WordPress? Exclusively use
Like
WordPress?
almost everybody, yeah.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we can
it's
skip that.
so nice because it's truly a total content management system now. It used to be
Yeah.
exclusively for blogs.
Right.
Now you can make a website that has a blog within it. Simple.
When I would even back up beyond the WordPress, I would start with research. If you have an idea of, I think I'm going to do something about eating out with kids, I would search that, see what's out there, find out what's missing, find out what's out there and they're not doing it very well, and make notes on all that, find out who your competition is, and then do it better and different than what's out there.
Yeah, that'll definitely help you. If you're questionable on any of these three, the goal, audience, unique value proposition, if you're looking at it saying, well, I know what my goal is, I know who my audience is, but I'm not really sure what I have to bring to the table, that will definitely help you to narrow that down. Because you could, say, well, how am I different than these other people? It definitely helps to look at what these other people have to concretely go from there to say, okay, this is not being done well, I could definitely do that better. Or this isn't being done at all, I could totally do that. It'll help you to narrow down your focus.
Well, and it's even recommended if you haven't started a site yet or you don't own any sites and you really want to get into the space, start by commenting on other sites that are in the space and build a
Yes.
following and a reputation without worrying about having your own yet. And then learn from that and add your own once you've got kind of a footing in the space.
You know, it's funny you guys bring that up. It's like you've taken my course at AFPlan because that's like the exact first step is niche selection, right? And so one of the processes there, obviously, when you're starting a website is your domain name selection. So think about this when you're buying a domain name and creating a domain name that's directly associated with your project. What is the most clever and yet radio ad friendly domain name.com, hopefully, that you can have? When I say radio friendly, the idea is that people can remember it, they can hear it, and can spell it just from hearing it. And when they type it out, it's easy to type, right? But the one thing I also like to, I give to my students as a tip is how can you connect your unique value proposition to your domain name? When you see a domain name, does it clearly imply or express what it is that they're going to get out of this website? So again, we're trying to do this food blog.
Right. So like with your idea, you might want to get a domain like localkidfriendlyrestaurants.com or something. Right. With
Yeah,
like a tips, it would be, eatingoutwithkidtips.com or, something like that. Keep in mind what your focus is. Definitely, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Do you guys want to take some website suggestions? I mean, go over some sites from people in the audience?
Yeah.
Kind of go in that direction?
It's
What do you guys think? I mean, because we're wide open up here. So, anybody have a site you want us to look at and give you some pointers on, or critiques, or ideas? Because we're all about ideas.
And if any of those topics that were thrown out, actually you are in those businesses and you'd like to expand on any one of those topics,
Yeah.
like specifically, very happy to do that too.
Anybody?
We're here for you.
You guys are shy.
We want to help.
Kimberly? No? Anybody?
I have a site that I just started.
We love just started sites.
Awesome.
It's beforeIkickthebucketlist.com. And
Oh,
I'm
nice.
writing about stuff on my bucket list.
What's the domain again?
BeforeIkickthebucketlist.com.
BeforeIkickthebucketlist.com. Very cool.
And I'm trying to figure out what I can put on there to make money. Right now I just have like t-shirts that I think are funny. That's really all I have on there right now.
Nice.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind when you say
I was just
that
going to ask you that. What's the first thing that comes to
Yeah,
mind with
it's
a name
travel.
like
that
that?
I see on Pinterest all the time. People have
Before
these
I
bucket
kick
list.
the bucket list?
People have these bucket list pins, like pictures of places they want to go with a little picture on them. So there's that way you could definitely promote your site through Pinterest by putting out these, pinning these little images, and they're not anything special. It's an image of like Bora Bora with just a simple line of text that says, go to Bora Bora. I've seen other ones that like, kiss in Times Square on New Year's, things like that. So you could easily, start a Pinterest campaign and use something like Pinnerly, which is in beta right now. But it takes a little bit for them to approve you, a little bit of time. That is, I think it took me about 2 weeks for them to give me the okay. But that will let you track your Pinterest campaigns. So, something like that where you could pin these images and they all link back to your site would be a nice way to get the word out there. But the first thing, monetization that comes to mind is travel. Most people, when they think of things they want to do on their bucket list, is places they want to go.
Sure.
Well, when I started this, I wasn't originally going to monetize it. So that's why it's kind of a little bit all over the place.
That's okay.
Like I just put stuff that I think is funny on there.
Yeah. No, funny is good.
Just to kind of keep track of
Yeah.
everything I find.
That's really clever.
Does
'cause then
anybody know-
you have a very specific voice, and it's very personal.
Yeah.
And it could have been some generic, like, oh, you should do this and buy these products. But instead you've got a very personal connection to it. Very cool idea.
Anybody know the keyboard shortcut for zooming out on Internet Explorer? Because I don't use a PC, I use a Mac.
I think it's control minus.
Control minus? Let's try that.
It exploded.
Scrolling side to side. Hey, look at that. Perfect.
And one of the things just off the bat, not that this is a site review, but that you're missing, is I know the title sounds somewhat self-explanatory, but you've got your own personality and voice. So I would put like a
Subtitle?
yeah, that was things all over the place. Some sort of subtitle or little motto, some sort of little catchphrase that kind of adds your voice to that explains what the site's about.
Yeah, very cool.
So how do you monetize a site like, or how do you monetize a concept like things to do before you die?
Right, so I think that what you're doing right now, starting with the content, is brilliant, right? So if you're starting, like the goal is you wanted to initially document things that you thought of or you've done and you want to do and kind of create this personal connection with your audience. I think that's brilliant because then, like I think Will even brought this up as well, Will Reynolds.
Let's just bring Will in here. Can we do that?
Well,
Yeah.
he's brilliant, man. And so like people who do things for free, if you would like, you'd make this website for free, you know, then you're always going to win against a company who's trying to make money at it. So what your goal is in terms of to your users is share this, right? You're not trying to have all this ad space and kind of, it's intrusive, right? So if you're focusing on your content to start with, because as a publisher, which all of us affiliates are, we publish content, that's our product. You are making a product, you know, you're not manufacturing a glass or a plastic cup. You're manufacturing a website, and that website is based completely off of your content. So focusing hardcore on your content like that is brilliant, and you get to understand your audience, right? So the more you know about your audience, because the more that you've actually engaged with them, and they are following you and paying attention to what you have to say, then the more you know about them, and then, and only then, really, can you do some serious laser target advertising to them, or maybe even sponsorships, because you know exactly who they are, right? So focus on the content, know your audience, and then from there, you know specifically what kind of advertising is appropriate for that audience. You know, like people ask me all the time, like, if I capture email addresses and I want to monetize my email address list, how often can I mail to them? How often can I just send them one letter a month? Is it just a newsletter? Or can I send them a message every single day? And, well, my answer is I don't know your audience, right? You do, and you will. So then the answer is different for every single type of business or website. So when it comes to actually advertising and monetizing that website, it's similar to my answer about email marketing. Like, how often can you mail to them? Well, it's based upon what's optimal for them. You try it once a week. Nobody's dropped off. Your conversions are good. All right, good. Try it every 5 days. You see one person drop off. Okay, that's probably enough. You know?
Or more than one person
But,
to drop off.
you know, like onesaleaday.com, I get their emails every single day. I expect that. But maybe from before I kick the bucketlist.com, I'd expect maybe, I mean, I have no idea your audience, but if I was in your audience, maybe I'd expect an email message once every 2 weeks, and it's brought to you by the nice people at xyz.com or whatever, right? And then on the website, perhaps you can actually do some blog posts specifically about a particular product or brand or a place you visited or want to go, and either they sponsor that blog post and they pay you directly, or you actually, you know, make an affiliate marketing commission from a product that you're talking about. Even put it in your footers of your content
Now,
brought to you by.
I have a question for you. Click on the link for my bucket list. So you've listed your list, and I see there's two, I think there's two, it's a small screen, that you've crossed off.
Yes,
Now, do you have posts about those events?
I do.
They don't
I see where it would be beneficial linked.
link to
Yeah.
them. So where would I find those posts? Are they
They're
in?
just on the homepage.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is if you link to that, because that instinctively, I wanted to know what your list was. If you're gonna talk about what you wanna do before you die, I wanna know what it is you wanna do, because that might inspire me to get off my butt and go do something too. So if we go to, which would be one of the two that's crossed off on here as an example?
On the homepage,
On the homepage,
probably the second post that's on there. There's not a whole lot on there.
the one night, 3 words?
Yeah, that's the Dallas company.
Okay, so one of the things is you would title that to match your list, because you're working with, you have to assume nobody knows the story that you're telling. So if you're going to promote things that relate to whatever your content is, you gotta let them give them breadcrumbs they can follow. Don't make them guess. And then once you get on this page, I'm not going to read it because I don't read that fast. But you could go through, and because you're talking about going to Dallas, maybe you find a merchant that deals with travel, or the event that you went to, or the restaurant that you went to. You somehow find some sort of a connection with the content you wrote
Right.
that somebody else could do, and find that link, that merchant, to coordinate that. So like
Yeah.
your post is inspiring somebody else to do it too. Make money from them wanting to do it too. Does that
Right.
make sense?
And that's a nice picture of you and Brandon, by the way.
Oh.
Very nice.
But yeah, the tickets to you said the Dallas Symphony. Tickets to the symphony would be very easy to sell there, or hotels in Dallas, or airfare to Dallas, things like that.
Something that is good for any website, this is something important for B2B and B2C sites, and I think specifically lends itself great to your site as well. An awesome, amazing about page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which you
The
have a really
about
good.
page is critical when you're trying to convert someone, and a lot of times if you look at your analytics, people who just happen to hit your site, they are going to check your about page, and that's your chance, man, to really sell them on you. So spend time and energy and effort refining and making that about page totally killer, because then that's your chance. If you got them, if you sell them on yourself on the about page, I mean anybody, B2B, B2C, blogs, everybody, your about page is critical, right?
And that's really the page that you want to go crazy on, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Have a video, have some a little audio clip introducing yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
On your
and make
first-
it really big. Make it bold, and put yourself out there, because that's going to be the page that people go to learn more about you. It's right there in the title of the page.
Well, in your first post is the mission and what your site is about. That, I would take that and make that the intro on your about page, because that got me. I wanted to know more, and it was nice and short, so I read it and went, oh, now I want to dig down and see what she's really doing. I didn't even click on the about page because that was enough about for me. But once you have more posts, it's not going to be on your front page.
I know Daniel did say, go crazy on it, and obviously he's talking about, like the variety of types of content, right?
Right.
But Jen also kind of nailed it with short and sweet. Really, I think there's a great balance there.
There's a medium. There's a way
Right.
to bring that together. Yeah.
You
And
wear
so
a
you
crazy
highlight
hat, and that's big and bold.
Yeah, sure.
crazy hat. I'm
Big
talking,
hat, short sentence.
Yeah,
Right.
bullet points, quick, and then your voice clearly
Yeah.
is important. So yeah.
Well, and
Good.
somebody told me, do you want to answer that
Oh,
first?
go ahead. If you can come up to the mic while she's talking. Go ahead.
Somebody told me a long time ago that a really good way to write for people that they were saying in the digital age, people don't actually read, and we're all busy writing all this content. If you write it in chunks, people will read the headers of your chunks. So
And
you
stop
use
it where they want to.
right.
Yeah.
So you use, like, if you've got a whole page full of content, you can write, like, using this as an example. If she puts her mission statement on her about page, you can put my mission in bold, and then do that little statement, and then more about me, and then do the rest under it. People will skim those headings, stop at what interests them, and then move on. They might come back, they might skip complete sections depending on what your headings are, but it gives people kind of like a bullet list without just itemizing.
Yeah, that's a really important thing to remember. So if you guys, seriously, that's one thing to write down is when you're making your content, use proper headings, right? I don't necessarily just mean H1, H2, which is all SEO-based stuff, but literally in terms of delivering the content. When you write and you have, let's say, 10 paragraphs, find a way to summarize 2-paragraph chunks with a title or some sort of a descriptor above that chunk of paragraphs, or just some single paragraph, right? Because when people are scanning, they will scan through, read those bullet points, not even bullet points, those section headings.
Subheadings.
And
Yeah.
that will give them a good indication whether they want to come back and spend the time.
Right.
So that is a really, really good tip.
Thank you. Sometimes what I do is bold the first, I'll craft the first sentence, so the first half of the first sentence can be bolded, and it's not even a heading, but it's like the first 5 words are bolded, and then the rest of the paragraph continues.
Sure.
Nice. I'm sorry we kept you standing there, sorry.
Todd, you.
Uh-oh.
Don't
You're supposed to yodel into it and then it turns on.
That's how it works here.
Is it
Yodeling
on?
about.
Is that on?
Yeah, it's
on.
You mentioned to the young lady about. Now, there we go.
There we go.
You mentioned the young lady about frequency of mailing, and that each audience has a different take on that, so to speak. Some are more ADD than others. But how about the initial opt-in and the period right after that? I mean, if you decide that your audiences should be mailed every week, that isn't necessarily true of the first, when you first get it. In other words, there's the auto response that they get. And then how do you handle the initial bonding, which is an important period?
Right. A good question. The question obviously here is like, depending on the frequency of mailing you can do for a particular audience, for your audience, what about the initial upfront, initial relationship-based messages, right? So first and foremost, I think that what you want to try to do is set expectations with your audience. At the same time, develop a rapport and relationship with them first. So before you ever try to sell anybody anything, you simply build that relationship first. So the first several messages, regardless of the time delay in between the first several messages, should focus completely on providing clear, amazing value to your new subscriber. They took the time to enter their email address, give you their trust, they hit submit, they've invited you into their inbox. The first and foremost thing you should do is provide clear and amazing value to them, right? And then set those expectations about how frequently they should expect to hear from you. So up front, how much is appropriate to provide that value and set expectations and then continually deliver?
Well, you said regardless of how many of the period that you said in the beginning of this bonding. What is your regardless number? I mean, is it every day? In other words, they opt in for something.
Yeah.
And say a common way would be to point to something within the opt-in and say, hey, thanks for downloading my report. You know, pay attention to, we get a lot of reports on page 3, paragraph 2, where, you know, zoom in on that, really nice having you, whatever. That may come the day after the opt-in.
Right.
And maybe something like that. How do you handle it? Fill in that regardless for me.
So the regardless part would be if, for instance, my audience, like once a month is enough, right? And or more than once a month, they get angry and start unsubscribing. I could mail them the first 2 or 3 days in a row my relationship building, and I tell them kind of up front, listen, this is the most you're going to hear from me. I know your time's valuable and you don't like to hear too much from me, but this is the beginning, and I want to be sure to establish this. Obviously, these are not the words you're going to use, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm establishing this rapport, this relationship with you. Here's some information. Here's some value. Day 2, thanks so much once again. This is the last time you're going to hear from me for 30 days or whatever. Then when you start getting your monthly newsletter, you know, so you're kind of able to do that to some degree.
See,
if you can handle once a week in your audience, then give them 4 or 5 messages over the course of spread out by 2 or 3 days. Typically the smartest thing to do is condense it up front and then start spreading it out, right? Mm-hmm. So your upfront messages come one after the other, day 1, then day 2, then you skip day 3, go to day 4, then you skip day 5, day 6, go to day 7, right? So it's front heavy. So that's how you're able to establish the relationship, get the rapport, and then you start staggering out until you reached your perfect once a week or once every 10 days or whatever type of message relationship. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Please say it's amazing and awesome.
It is. Yeah, it is amazing.
Todd.
You know, what market are you in? What market do you actually deal in when you?
Actually, I cover both B2C and B2B, and a lot of my clients are a bit, well, they actually cover both sides as well.
Yeah, I just always thought that you know, if you're giving them good stuff, then they really like to hear from you along the way. I mean, you want people to opt in, and you want people in your audience, but you don't want people who really aren't going to move through the system.
You're totally right. So then you have your
Well,
question of what your goal is, right, though? Because if your goal is to make money with this audience,
Ah.
and if somebody, you know, they don't want to hear too much from you, get them off your list. That's
Yeah,
not
okay.
your audience. That's not your target customer. That's perfectly fine. And unsubscribe, it's perfectly fine if they don't meet your goal.
Now that's
criteria,
awesome.
Right?
That part is awesome, right?
Yeah.
there. Thanks.
That was
Appreciate
awesome
it.
right there.
Yes, I'm out.
He's done.
My George Costanza moment there.
I would just add to that when I subscribe to a list, I always like them to tell me when I'm going to get emails.
Yeah.
Like the regular base emails. Like I understand getting a few, up front, and whatever, frequency your audience can tolerate is up to you. But I always like it when they say, we send out our monthly newsletters at the end of the month, or we send out our weekly newsletter every Friday. And so then I know if I subscribe on Thursday, I'm going to get another email on Friday.
Right.
So I don't think it's overkill because I know it's every Friday. That's when I'm going to get the emails. I just happen to subscribe on Thursday. So it doesn't feel like it's overkill just because you also get, you're added to the list immediately. So, it doesn't feel like it's
You can even
overkill.
say that on the subscribe.
Yeah, on the
form.
that's where I mostly see it on
Yeah, that first autoresponder,
The first
message that
autoresponder.
you get should
No,
spell
not even
that
on
out.
that. You can put it with your subscribe, like
True.
about your newsletter.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, our
section.
newsletter is sent out every Friday. Subscribe here. Yeah, totally.
And you don't need to feel like you're locked into it either. You can change the frequency whenever you want simply by mentioning it in the next newsletter.
Yeah,
Hey, we're going monthly, or hey, we're going weekly, or whatever.
I get emails all the time.
Maybe we're not writing it anymore ever.
Can I admit something real quick? here?
No, well,
Yes.
So I'm all hard ass. Like, if they're not your customer, get them off your list. I'll tell you, the first time I got an unsubscribe, when somebody said too many emails, I was like, oh, really? I thought it was good. What?
Broke his heart.
So,
yeah.
yeah, that kind of sucked. But then I realized, all right, so that's just not my target audience. So. And it was only Greg. And it was you.
Yeah, it was only Greg,
It's
so
only Greg.
so who cares?
He used some choice words too.
That's rude. We all subscribe to your list.
I don't.
I know.
All right, so okay, so that
you
answered
built your
your
site.
question pretty well. Yeah. Okay, great. All right, so we talked about email.
Wait, were we done
a
looking
bucket
at her
list.
site as we're showing everybody her bucket list?
Everybody's just reading, going, "Oh, that's good."
That's a great idea. Yes.
I want to do that too.
No TV for a
Did
month.
that,
Well,
did
I don't know
that
about
give you
that.
a little bit of an idea of where to start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I would also and again, this is something everybody needs to address on their site. One of the first things that I do when I create a new site, because I do have some blogs that I do outside of managing programs, and when I create a new site, there's some basics that you need to have on your site, and Todd mentioned the About Us page, and things like social media links would be helpful, like on the side. Like my first thing when seeing your site is I would be expecting some kind of like follow me on Twitter or Facebook or something.
That's assuming.
It's under the contact. Because I would, if I got like a daily thing like, today I'm focusing on this, or I just added to the bucket list, this kind of thing. And it'd be like, oh, that's interesting, and that kind of thing might gain you followers that come to your blog then. But Todd, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I know that you know of a plugin that replicates a WordPress
I
installation.
know many, many plugins.
I couldn't
I
remember the
learned that
name
one.
like 5 minutes ago. I was trying to think of
Yeah.
it.
So, well, first of all, that plugin is a backup creator. I did a little video on affplan.com actually where I I was so excited about this plugin because you can make a website and kind of use it as your template, right? And then, so this isn't really going to help you necessarily, but if you want to build multiple niche websites, you have all your favorite plugins and all your favorite themes, and you do all the settings for them. So when you're actually setting up a new website, you got to start from scratch. You got to upload all the themes, upload all your plugins, do all the settings, right? Do all that stuff. It's a pain in the rear. It just takes, why do it manually when you can automate it, right? So I found this plugin, and I did this video where I just tested it. I was like, oh my God, it worked. It was done in 30 seconds because all my plugins were uploaded. All my themes, all their settings, the pages,
The settings are the real.
the settings of plugins. It was done. It was so easy. Then I can back it up to S3, my Amazon service. And then, which is great, from an insurance policy perspective, if your site crashes or your server goes down and you hate this web host, you just simply start a new web hosting account, point DNS here, upload this little tiny file. You do a fresh install first of WordPress, upload a tiny little file. It points over to your S3 backup, and it sucks it all down, and it's it's magically there, right? And then when you're cloning a website, it's also magically not relating to the old website. Because if you've ever done this before, you've backed up and do an import-export, normally with WordPress, everything refers back to the old domain name. Like images, specifically images, that's the hardest one, right?
Yeah.
They're always pointing back to the old domain name. With this type of plugin, it pulls it over for you, and I just love it. And I don't start hundreds of websites every day, but I could.
And the plugin is called?
Backup
It's
creator.
Backup Creator.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But the thing is, actually, Jen, I had a question for you.
Oh.
On this site, I always focus on the content. My argument is content is the product, content is what you should focus on, worry about design later, right?
I would agree.
And now you make amazing graphics.
Thanks.
What would you think about suggesting logo-wise, considering it's her voice and
It's very important to personalize your website, and the easiest way to do it is a header. Even just a simple header, you can, a lot of themes will let you upload an image right into the header space. Changing your color palette, just little tiny simple details of things that you do in a site can make a huge impact. Sometimes, like on this site, this is a very, very simple layout, so there's lots of room to customize. But something like, maybe you look into the files and see if the black background is an image, which I am going to guess it is because of the way it looks. Change it with a black image that maybe has a really subtle pattern on it. So it makes it unique from everybody else that's using this theme with just the black. Having a logo, I go back and forth whether logos are necessary because I come from a background of graphic design doing corporate identity packages, companies and their branding and their business cards, letterhead, advertising, all of that. And when somebody says logo and it's for an individual site, it seems like a conflict in my head. However, I think it's important to have imagery that is consistent with you and what you're doing. If it's your personal site and your personal journey like this is, you're not really branding it as the site itself, you're branding it as you. So you would do more things that are unique to your personality, your image. You don't have to use your face if you don't want to, but maybe photos you've taken, stuff like that. So logos I think are good for business. I don't agree with logos for blogs because it makes it look like a business.
Right. Like MissyWard.com, right?
Now that's Missy's brand, so she has Missy's
Yeah.
cartoon head.
So I
like
some
that.
reason I was actually picturing something along
Right.
the lines of there's a picture, like a caricature of you kind of a thing with some sort of let's say you're focusing on sailing or parachuting or something, right? And it's kind of like, ooh, and that's
Maybe you're
one of your
sitting in
things.
a bucket.
And there's a bucket.
Who knows?
You're writing a list in a bucket. Yeah, see how creative I am?
But branding doesn't always mean it has to be a logo. Branding can be your color scheme and your imagery that you use. If any of you are familiar with Tip Junkie, huge blog, she started out talking about just tips of things, and now she's got a gazillion followers and a gazillion contributors. She's got a very unique look.
What kind of resources do you guys like for people who are not great with Photoshop or creating their own
PicMonkey.
images?
PicMonkey is
PicMonkey?
a free online graphic editor that a lot of bloggers are using these days.
Okay.
That just came to me.
You know
Right
what
on.
just came to me?
What?
Shrinkpictures.com.
I've never heard of that.
It's pretty neat. You have, you want to shrink a picture, both in, K size and or file like pixel space. You just upload it, shrinkpictures.com, and you tell it the exact dimensions you want, and boom, you're done.
That'll definitely help you with your site speed too, because if it takes too long to load on a decent connection, people will bounce off.
Another one I like to give out to people, I use this actually, it's Da Button Factory. Literally, Da Button Factory.
Duh, like
DA.
DA, right? Yeah.
Buttonfactory.com. And it's kind of cool. You want to make a little button with some beveled edges and stuff, you don't have to deal with Photoshop, because clearly I am never going to help anybody with Photoshop.
And,
Ever.
and
A good
just
one?
in,
Oh, go ahead.
No, you first.
No, you first.
Jinx.
So just in case anybody's unaware, Do not grab images from other websites. Do not grab photos that are not yours and use them without permission. Even if you give credit, it is not okay. That's my soapbox.
What I was going to recommend is a site called Icon Archive. If you're looking for like favicons, they have the little tiny favicon images. Or, they have them in different sizes, and it's all like user-submitted stuff, and it's free to use. There's some stuff that you can contact the person who created it if you want something more custom or created specifically for your site. But there's a ton of stuff. Like the social media, I mentioned they have a whole category of different Twitter and Facebook and social media networks I didn't even know existed, icons.
Yeah.
But they're a great resource. It's really slick-looking stuff, as well as, you mentioned don't pull pictures off of people's sites.
Like even Flickr. There's public domain images on Flickr or through Google, and they're called public domain. Don't use them for your own branding and your own sites. However, I use clipart.com when I need photos that I'm not taking.
Yeah.
I think it's like $179 a year, and then you have rights to use it.
Yeah, but I would
your
say,
posts and things.
not to, stay away from Flickr necessarily, but reach out to people. There's those comments under the pages for a reason, and a lot of people will be very flattered if you want to use one of their images. Just, tell them you're willing to link to the image and, give them a little love for the love that you're going to use their image.
And keep that email conversation.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do, I wouldn't recommend that just because you don't
comments?
know. Well, no, to use other people's images that you don't have the right to use, even with permission, I don't always recommend it. You can, if you want. I don't always recommend it because if it disappears from the net or something happens and somebody else claims ownership, you're stuck holding the ball.
Okay.
One last little Photoshop tip. Again, Photoshop challenge right here. How many of you use Fiverr.com?
Yeah,
Fiverr.com, right?
I'm not raising my hand.
Oh, do it.
Fiverr.com
2 hands.
is
Oh,
great
You know you wanna.
specifically for Photoshop help, right? You can get
I didn't know that.
cheap logos, whatever, or you can get a bunch of crazy things, whatever. But if you have a Photoshop need, like if you have a picture and you want yourself taken out of it and you want to have a different background, or you got divorced and you want her out.
I wondered where
And
that grin was coming from.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. Fiverr has great Photoshop people who will just do specific things for you, and it's really, really good. So
Is it Fiverr because it's $5 for this?
$5.
Yes.
$5 for the specific thing that you want.
Yeah, although I'll tell you, I've heard recently that a lot of people on Fiverr now are doing upsells.
Yeah.
So you really can't get much of anything good on Fiverr for $5 anymore.
well, I find
but-
that
Not
what they're
true.
doing is that it's for $5 you can get this Photoshop job done in a week.
Yeah.
Add $5 to it, 24-hour turnaround time. Right? They'll do that kind of stuff. But still, if you can wait,
I
pretty much everything
say-
is $5 still.
Yeah, nobody's suggesting that you maybe, put all your eggs in one basket and have your whole site design and a custom logo and a custom, theme and all kinds of things off Fiverr, but little things for $5. The worst thing that could happen is you're out $5 and you have a logo you're not crazy about.
I say in the next 7 minutes, we take your mystery topic and blow it up.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Kickboxing. Go.
You go.
I don't know anything about, so I would do research.
Okay.
And then my platform would be WordPress.
Okay.
And I'm a content-based developer,
Yeah.
so I would write articles. Since I know nothing, I might actually take a kickboxing class, and I'd invite Todd so I could kick his butt.
Yes.
But
And
you could
then
take
You could do videos.
you could take any of the things we just said. Todd mentioned local local kickboxing classes in your area. Kickboxing reviews, ways not to kick somebody's butt if you get in a fight with them. because you're
Kickboxing
trained.
equipment.
Kickboxing equipment. There's tons of online sport kind of retailers that have kickboxing equipment.
Right.
You could you do reviews for kickboxing stuff. Tips on how to find a good kickboxing class, or tips on how to find a good sparring partner.
Books on kickboxing
Yep.
or videos on kickboxing. that
You could be the
buy.
#1 affiliate to sell Jean-Claude Van Damme's kickboxing. Isn't there the kickboxing movie?
I think you're
He's
thinking
doing
this is
it
like
splits all the time.
1992 or something.
I know, but
There's a movie
that's why
called
you could be the
Kickboxer.
#1 affiliate. That's what I'm saying. Nobody else is selling it.
Right.
Okay, go.
So
Add
I would
something.
start with the goal, right? Are you focusing on, kickboxing?
So
for
what's our goal?
defense, for physical fitness?
All of the
Is it
above.
for your kid, or is it, for a middle-aged man like me, or is it in college, right? What's your goal? And then who's your audience? Other people like that? You're trying to sell them kickboxing services, trying to, teach people kickboxing, trying to get people healthy and fit and in shape. They always want to use kickboxing for six-pack abs or
Or just a
exercise.
kickboxing geek that wants to geek out with other kickboxers.
See, I like
what?
I like
There you go.
thinking
That's a
along.
niche. That's a niche.
Exactly.
I like thinking really a lot bigger than that. So I'm thinking, do you want to be a media personality? Do you have a passion for, say, kickboxing? So you start a string of videos that you get on YouTube. You make them.
Demonstrating the kickboxing.
You demonstrate your techniques. You teach people how to do it, perhaps, but you do it in a really entertaining way, and you work
Funny
on getting the
costumes.
attention of national networks.
So like you're in a bunny costume interviewing kickboxers.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be
would
awesome.
totally rule. Absolutely. Why
Hey,
not?
the kickboxing
Wait,
bunny
and then
interviewing Jen on
Yeah.
her new technique.
And then are you kickboxing a carrot?
No, that's just dumb.
You came up with the bunny and you said okay, so I'm a little
Well,
confused.
yeah.
It's improv, folks.
Yeah.
Wait, I want to know what your unique proposition is then to the
For
kickboxing.
kickboxing?
You are the kickboxing bunny.
At the
Well,
end
yeah,
of
That's
the,
pretty unique.
I think the unique
That's
value
unique.
proposition for if you have a passion for kickboxing would be yourself. It would be, this is my passion and this is what I'm going to put out there. And
Okay.
I want you to come to me for my videos and my instruction or my entertainment and my personality. And
So
then,
in that case, because it's video, are you dealing with affiliate links or are you
Yep.
dealing with traffic drivers and doing more ad revenue?
I would suggest going with sponsorships, directly going to interested people that might want to buy ad space. And in the meantime, affiliate links.
And then build a huge YouTube channel since
Yes.
it's a video.
Yes.
And then I just learned last week at the Affiliate Summit meetup in Denver that when you do a YouTube video, the quickest way to get ranked high in the YouTube space is to then submit those videos to other resources outside of YouTube and link back to your YouTube video.
so another quick thing from a monetization perspective here is there's actually an affiliate program for a company called Viewbix. It's VIEWBIX.com.
B as in boy.
B as in boy. And what they do is pretty neat. Adam Reamer, I believe, is their affiliate manager.
Yeah.
And I actually use this on one of my wine club sites. And it wraps, it puts a skin on front of your YouTube videos, and it offers your visitors to clearly watch the YouTube video that you've embedded on your site. But there's a direct call to action that you can click on at any time during the entire video. Click here to buy this product. So if you have a product review video or something,
Right.
at the top it's like click here to buy this product, and then on the right, little tiny widgets. Click here and it integrates with aweber.com. I use that quite a bit for my email platform, and you can hover over this little link and it's like click here to subscribe to our email list or get our report on kickboxing 101 or whatever, right?
Right.
So there's a bunch of really cool little things that you can do inside Viewbix using YouTube.
That's very cool.
Yeah, pretty slick.
Indeed.
Another tool I just want to mention real quick, well, two tools really, is, if you're going to do some kind of product-based site, Pop Shops is a great tool because you don't have to have your entire site based on products. You can have like one page of a WordPress site that has products using Pop Shops. But also PrettyLink is a plugin for WordPress
Yep.
that makes customized short URLs. So you're not using like Bitly or, I don't even remember the other shorteners anymore since I used this one.
Yes, tiny
Tiny
URL,
URL,
Bitly.
right. Owly, you don't
Owly.
have to use those. So, you can have your site and dash whatever small little nibbit you want for your short links. And you can do that with affiliate links so that you can easily, and it tracks stats, even the free version tracks stats.
Yeah.
So you can see what your click through and what your conversion is on, say, mydomain.com/ASE presentation.
Have you guys ever had a website where you wondered where you put, like a sort of affiliate program that you joined for a merchant, and you're like, and they tell you, a year later that they switched service providers, they're moving from this network to this
Right.
network, and you got to change all your links
this,
such a pain, right?
Takes care of
like
that
to try
too.
to find. I was like, oh my God, where did I put them all? What posts did I put them all in? You know, to do a find and search and replace. I use Pretty Links for every single affiliate link that I use. Every single one. You can go to webcid.com/share a sale. That's my affiliate link for share a sale.
Yeah.
And in fact, somebody went from one network from CJ to share a sale. It was, I believe, a Square Trade. So I just went to Pretty Link, changed it one place. My affiliate link now goes to the
Yeah.
proper location, and it's done.
And it's much easier than trying to do an HT access redirect, which I never did figure out how to do, or PHP redirects, which are, you'd have to have one file per redirect. And, that's
And
annoying.
Pop Shops allows for some of that too. You can integrate a grouping of products or whatever, and then instead of managing it in your blog, you change the links or update the links on the Pop Shops end.
Yeah.
Guys, we're out of time. They're telling us it's time to leave. So
Time to go.
thank you all for coming. Appreciate it. And
Thank you.
enjoy the rest of Affiliate Summit.
Thank you.